Hey everybody, welcome to my presentation. My name is Ashley Rocky and this is a true crime story of the murders of the Jennifer Hudson's family. Jennifer Hudson is a Oscar-winning actress, songwriter, and singer. She appeared on American Idol in 2003, and in 2001 she actually got her bachelor's degree in music, and she got certified as a musician's therapist. And she's also in the movie Dreamgirls, if you've ever seen it with Beyonce. It's pretty good. So Jennifer Hudson's family was murdered, her brother, her mother, and her nephew on October 24th in 2008 in Chicago, Illinois. And Jennifer Hudson used to live with her mother at this house that it took place. Darnell Donnerson was 57 years old, and she's the mother. And Jason, her brother, is 29 years old when it happened. And Julian King, her nephew, 7 years old. Her nephew wasn't Jason's son. It was her sister Julia's son. So Jason was Julian's uncle, and then Darnell was grandma. 2 bodies were found gunned down inside the residence. However, Julian King was not found, and a missing persons report was reported when family members said that he was supposed to be there with his uncle and his grandmother, however, wasn't there at the scene of the crime. However, 3 days later, a shocking discovery took place on the west side of Chicago, where a black SUV would be found abandoned along with the remains of the 7-year-old boy who only weighed approximately 94 pounds. He was shot to death from behind as he sat in the passenger seat with multiple gunshots. And, of course, it was little Julian King that was supposed to be missing that was found. In the case of the triple homicide, so Jennifer Hudson's in the middle and her sister is on the left, Julia Hudson, and then Darnell Donnerson, her mother, is on the right. Julia was in a toxic relationship with this guy named William Belfer, who she supposedly fell in love and married in 2006. Even though everybody in the family did not like him, and even Jennifer Hudson would tell her numerous times that she felt like he was a danger to her, and she just was making a huge mistake by being in a relationship, period, with Will Balfour. Here's a picture of him. Be cautious to who you say or tell I do. Julia and William got married in 2006, around the same time Jennifer Hudson ended up moving out of her mom's house. He ended up moving in with Julia and her mom Darnell, and one day he was mistreating her and kept accusing her of seeing somebody else, and so Julia and her mom Darnell ended up kicking him out, and he threatened Julia and said, if I find you with anybody else, or if you try to divorce me, then I will kill your family first and then you last, which is definitely heartbreaking. Here's William Belfer. He was born in 1981 in Chicago, Illinois. He is 43 years old. At the time of the murders, he was 27 years old, and he used a .44 caliber handgun that was not registered to him. And as of July 24th, 2012, he is currently serving 3 life sentences plus 120 more years without the possibility of parole. So he's not getting out. He's guilty. So characteristics of a murderer. So he threatened Julia that if she divorced him, he would murder her family. And if anybody ever tells you that they're going to murder you or your family, you definitely should believe them and get out of the situation as quickly as possible. No relationship is worth seeing your loved ones pass away. He had a history of attempted murder and car theft and weapon possession and substance abuse. He dealt with depression, insomnia, defiant disorder. He already served 7 years behind prison walls. His grandmother also went to prison for manslaughter and has a history of violence. He was out on parole and failed to cooperate with probation rules and regulations. His older brother also failed to cooperate with the laws. And he was a gangster, and he has a criminal history as well. William grew up without a father. He is still incarcerated. His father killed a man and was abusive to his mom. So he's seen a lot of, violence and stuff he shouldn't see at his age. So his dad's in prison for 30 years for murder. He was convicted when William was only 5 years old. And then William started doing substances and in and out of juvenile corrections, and his mother actually ended up giving him up to child welfare voluntarily around the age of 14. So he's had struggles with mental illness, and he always thought that marijuana would help his negative thoughts, but he just kept wanting to hurt somebody. It's probably because he's been hurt and he's seen a lot of domestic violence. So why did the crime even take place? Well, there's several theories we could talk about here. So biosocial theory, literally, it might be, just mental illness that is running through the family that makes up his personality traits. The environment that he grew up in, the genes, I guess, that's been passed down and down, generation. His grandmother, manslaughter, was convicted. Like, okay, that's not good. And then his mother too, abusive and breaking the law and doing drugs, and his dad also, and his brother, and so it just might be something in his DNA. Nature versus nurture. He was not nurtured at all. Looks like nature took its course and deemed him a killer from the beginning. It seemed natural that he would become a killer because his family's past and how he was being raised. There was not enough nurturing, and the brain develops at 25, so lack of nurture definitely made it less possible for his frontal lobe and his brain to develop healthier life choices, because that's where your good and bad choices come from. If you're not nurtured properly or well enough, then your frontal cortex doesn't really develop. We'll move on now. Social strain theory. So definitely a strain, low-income family, south side of Englewood, Illinois. Definitely lack of opportunities for success and more access to drugs and criminal behaviors. Psychological stress and negative relationships impacted his life. He turned to criminal behavior, and that was a cry for help. He wasn't wanted by his family, let alone his girlfriend that turned out to become his wife. And it was just sad, his mother and father just didn't care about his well-being or welfare. He was also, I could totally see like a social strain. He's running with the wrong crowd, especially like with his own family. So if everybody else is not following the rules or the law, or being defiant against authority figures who even like try to be there for him, he would just continue to be rebellious anyways. It's a lifestyle by choice. So social norm theory, it was normal for his grandma and his dad to be locked up all of his life. So again, it's normal for him to be a part of the criminal activity growing up. It was normal for him to be on drugs and act out, be in dysfunctional relationships. It was normal to threaten and to hurt loved ones, and it was normal for him to be hurt and threatened as well. Could only imagine what he went through as a child. It's just terrible. It was normal also to be abandoned by his family members. So lifestyle theory, it was the way that he was raised. He was shown how to be a criminal. Monkey see, monkey do. When you're in front of a child, and you got to watch your mouth and be careful of what you say and do in front of them, because they will copy you. He was in and out of juvenile or juvie as an adolescent. Everyone he knew had a criminal background. He was taught to run from his problems. And it doesn't seem that anybody suggested mental health counseling when he was younger for what he already had been through. So he just had really no chance at hope to live a good life. Crime policy in the case of the Hudson murders. Shortcomings of the justice system. The government's strategies to prevent criminal convictions in Chicago, Illinois definitely fall short. Policing younger children and getting them involved in the community could definitely help and prevent some crimes from happening. You know, just making those positive reinforcement peer relationships would have been great. Could have gotten some support, and they could have helped guide him to become a law-abiding citizen. It just seems that nobody really took any time out for this kid, so he just grew up criminal lifestyle. This case definitely speaks volumes for not only the need for better community resources, but more government grant agencies as well, so they can help parents and kids get off the street, a place to lay low or stay warm, and find some resources to pick them back up and give them some more hope to live a better life. But to take that into consideration, also the mental health that went undiagnosed for so long should have been looked at. And also, it would have been nice to see how long a parent could go undiagnosed while caring for a child. To just, if you're going to be a guardian, like, you should have your stuff together, and your mental health should be, good or better than good. I don't know. It's just crazy that she gave him up and nobody took him away. But, it was best for him. That's what she decided. However, courts can set up court-mandated therapy and treatment, but they ignored the issue right away. The justice system failed society by locking the person up and not dealing with the underlying cause. And it's as if police looked the other way when there was child abuse or drug activity and allowed the neighborhoods to condemn themselves, pretty much. It's kind of like let the trash take the trash out itself, but that's just going to create worse environments and higher crime. If someone was there for this man, he would have had something to live for when he was younger. Things could have happened differently, but it seems like since the day he was born, just nobody wanted to pay attention to him or even reward him for good behavior, so he found a worse way to get everyone's attention. And it still seems... Ooh, scared me. It still seems that nobody took him seriously. When his wife started to ignore him, he lashed out, and he didn't make empty threats. No, he didn't. He actually lived up to his word that he was going to kill her family and then her. So she was going to be his next murder victim. It was just a matter of time. And it's also just a shame that he got out of prison the first time, because there was no justice reform or rehabilitation that took place afterwards. So parole officers can also mandate people to get mental health treatment and therapy, and it just doesn't seem like anybody wanted to get involved with him. So yeah. And then my resources. And I will upload this and my recording. And there it is. Thank you.